Hello everyone, today is the 4th of November. It's a big week. There was the presidential election in the United States yesterday. At this stage, as I record, I don't know the outcome, but I do have a way of working out who you should vote for in situations like this. I've shared it with you before. I hope it bears repeating. So, if you happen to be an undecided voter in an election, use the marbles and tumblers method to help you decide how you should cast your ballot. Step 1. Place as many marbles as you comfortably can in your mouth. Step 2. Every time a candidate says something you agree with, take a marble out and drop it in a tumbler representing that candidate. Step 3. When you have lost all your marbles, check your tumblers and you will know who to vote for. That, of course, is a bit of humour, even if it contains a barb about the relationship between voting and the wisdom of how we make our choices. But it is worth pondering, and more than slightly sobering, that Hitler came to power perfectly democratically. Is it fair, I wonder, to say that those who voted for him really had lost their marbles? Given the multiple layers of horror that election paved the way for, it seems to me the case can be made. At some level, is it going too far to say that those voters were demented in its literal sense, decoupled from rational thought, or as we might put it, out of their minds? And were they deranged? In the original French, deranged indicated a big step away from things being placed in orderly rows. The image is of a room having been set out in a way to accommodate a certain number of people. You may not know who exactly is going to sit where, but at least everybody agrees on how things have been arranged and should operate. You can see a connection to an election and to the democratic process as a whole. The ground rules have been set, the seats have been provided, and the people decide who sits in them. Then the whole system gets trashed, abused, hollowed out, undermined, subverted. Order and an accepted framework become disorder and a contested framework. Sometimes a significant sector of an electorate becomes detached from meaningful reality. Ironically, often as it loudly proclaims its strong support for law and order. Whatever finally unfolds in the United States, I hope and I pray there is no further drift towards a society tempted by policies, ideas and ways of behaving which look dangerously close to a form of fascism. Way back in 1935, an American writer called Sinclair Lewis wrote a book entitled It Can't Happen Here. It's a fictional account of how a populist, authoritarian, demagogue runs against FDR and wins. This character then begins to take all power to himself as he distorts and dismantles the institutions and protections of democracy. Lewis's wife, Dorothy Thompson, was a journalist. Traveling with her, Lewis got an up-close look at Germany as it turned Nazi, including being present at an interview with Hitler. Out of this experience, he came to think that a similar form of extreme right-wing populism could happen in America. But he said that if fascism took over in the States, it would do so wrapped in the flag and carrying the cross. It Can't Happen Here was a huge bestseller when it was first published. It has been again since 2016, when people started seeing signs of the fictionalized America of the 1930s beginning to happen around them. If 2020 turns out to be a watershed presidential election in the States, I hope the water starts flowing in the direction of decency, meaningful participatory democracy, increased fairness, justice, recognition of what is really wrong in society and in the world, and treating others with respect. In the big picture, rifts on fascism are intensifying and becoming ever more shrill around the world, in Brazil, across Europe, and in Britain. At close to the deepest level, biblical faith is always lived out in a world of competing allegiances and visions, many of them cruel and abusive of others. That's how it was for ancient Israel. It's how it was for the early church. It's how it is for us. And if our commitment is not to shaping our shared life together on this planet in ways that ensure comprehensive well-being for all, it is not true to our Lord Jesus. I said at the start, this is a big week. Sunday is Remembrance, with our live streamed service starting at the earlier time of 10:50 a.m. We should know by now the cost of fascism. God bless. Bye for now.